Okay, Assalamualaikum and konnichiwa to Tamamura Sensei, Kato Sensei. Today our group will present about ecological improvement in Kitakyushu, and firstly I want to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Iqbal and this is Izham, Roshan and Sani. So I will talk about the introduction and some history of Kitakyushu. Izham will talk about economic revolution and sound pollution, and Roshan will talk about how Kitakyushu become a green town from the grey town, and Sunny will talk about summarize it and make a conclusion. Okay, first I want to ask some of you. Any one of you can explain what is ecological? Anyone? Yes, from your opinion. Okay. The definition of ecology is relating the environment and the way that plant, animal, and human live together and affect each other. So the ecological mean is related. In Malaysia we call it flora and fauna, right? So in terms of that, how we as a human and we live together and make the world better. So as the introduction of Kitakyushu, okay, in 1901, the first government managed steelwork factory in Japan was established in Kitakyushu. So there's a picture of the first factory in Kitakyushu, and then it developed with a key industry and played an important role of the modernization of Japan. Okay, in 1963, five cities, namely Moji, Kokura, Wakamatsu, Yahata, and Tobata was merged, and it became Kitakyushu. And can you relax the first one slide? First one. Okay, this is a flag of Kitakyushu, I think. I found it on Wikipedia. That's the purple one. It was the first instance in the world, and the United Nations have given a special note of this United. And Kitakyushu became an ordinary designed city with a population in 1 million of people. Okay? Alright. And I pass it to Izham.
Okay, thank you, my friend. Okay, I will continue the presentation. Okay, in my presentation, I will talk about two things. One is about economy, and two is about pollution. Okay, go to economy of Japan. We need to know what the timeline of economy in Japan. Okay, so the industrialization start from Tokugawa shogunate or Tokugawa bukufu. This name Tokugawa is the last feudal military government of Japan, and then after that the revolution of industry is began under Emperor Meiji. It is called Meiji Revolution in 1868 until 1912, and then the World War II is began. Then the industry in Japan also support the war. So we see that the industry is very important in Japan. because it start very long time ago than Malaysia. And after that, we know that the the earliest we hear, the sensei had tell us about the Japan economic bubble, that the main point is yen strengthened than USD. That means the Japan very high development in that time. But for your information, that actually starting 1991 until 2000, that economy of Japan has collapsed. All over the world has collapsed, and until 2010, it's called lost score, when economy of Japan still fall down. And now the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe make a new policy for economic Abenomics. So you need to know that the Japan even they are said that the economy of Japan is collapsed 20 years, but the Japan is still the third largest economy in the world. And then I will introduce you a little about Kitakyushu Industrial City. Okay, has been told by my colleague that the nation's first modern blast furnace is in Kitakyushu, and Kitakyushu is one of the 4 major industrial city in Japan. We can see the one of them is Kitakyushu, Hanshin, Aisebe, and Keihin. Okay, start with the pollution. Okay, the pollution, I will touch about what the pollution and how the pollution is overcome. I will touch just the surface because my friend will explain it more. Okay, about the pollution, there is 3 main pollution in Kitakyushu. Okay, first is air quality, the emission of gas from the industry sector. So you can look at the picture, and we have looked at the picture so many times. And the water quality, the waste of chemical substances from factory to sea and river, and soil contamination. The soil was polluted from the chemical waste. Okay, so the effect of the pollution, we have find some research, and we find the long-term exposure to air pollution that decrease the lung function, and only 134 victims official acknowledge. This is made by Department of Cardiopulmonary Rehabilitation Science of Nagasaki University. Okay, for your information, in Kitakyushu, even there is high pollution, but the disease is not like we know that we review the previous session that like Minamata, there is not found in Kitakyushu, because the one thing that the research has made, because this in Kitakyushu is silent citizen, that local people do not react because there are less awareness of extent on health effect of pollution. Okay, about overcoming pollution, of course, you also know that, okay, first, there is a partnership between citizens, local government, and private companies. Okay, about the citizens, the first movement made by women's movement, that first by visit the companies and make workshop on countermeasure of the air pollution. And also, you need to know that women is also doing research about the pollution in Kitakyushu. And the local government, of course, I think you remember that the environmental monitoring and improvement of environment structure. We can look around here, and we go to tour, And the private companies also play the roles by make the processes low pollution production and make anti-pollution equipment. Okay, so that's all for me. I will pass to my colleague.
Okay, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let me clarify that we are supposed to be focusing on ecology, so we spent a lot of time already working on the economical background, so I think we spent over due time over there. So finally, we come to the ecological part. So let me just sum up what Isham has tried to tell you guys. So what he's trying to tell is that after the bubble economy, the western part of the world invested a lot of money in Japan. Japan did a lot of revolutionary and technological advancements, and this caused pollution. So after this pollution is when the Japanese people realized things are going wrong. Pollution is happening, the people are getting sick, something needs to be done. That is actually the connection between the revolution and the ecological improvement made by Japan. Okay, so now let's talk about how actually Kitakyushu improved their ecological level. First, generally speaking, they implement eco-friendly company work standards. Now, what do I mean by this? It is that the companies do their best to protect the green and ecological level of the country, meaning to reduce the pollution and to take care of people's health rather than only focusing on improving economy and gaining more money. The people are more important. So we are focused on the three companies that we have visited, which are Shabondama, the Ecotown, and Toyota. But mostly I'll be talking about Shabondama and the Ecotown project. Next slide. Okay, so this is the picture that I'm sure we've all seen before. Before, it is all grey skies and the port is very much polluted. And after their efforts, after Japan realized what they have been doing backwards, they improved on this with all the projects and all the companies, all the people, together with the government. They have improved what they have been doing wrong. And look at the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a big difference, I tell you. Not every country, or not just any country, can improve from that point of pollution to this much greenery. Next. Okay, Shabondama Soap Company. So this is the first company. I've learned that they produce soap which are not made from synthetic materials, very good soap, very good for your skin. And it also shocked me on how they actually started. So this is because the Japan National Railways, now also known as JR, asked Morita Hanjiro Shoten, it's the company named before Shabondama. So they approached the company and said, we need a soap for cleaning our trains. Because the synthetic soap causes the train to rust faster. So can you produce a soap that does not rust as much and of course more organic soap for us to use on our trains? So the main person in the company said, oh, it has not been done before, but we'll try. So they are brave enough to step into the new revolutionary idea, and after 17 years of endurance, the Shabondama Organic Series launched in 2012, not so long ago. Next. Benefits to ecology. Ecological benefits of Shabondama. Number one, being skin friendly. It is very good for your skin, as said in the lecture we have attended in Shabondama. Skin friendly, and it cures eczema. Okay, let me try to speed up a bit. Eczema is a skin disease that was developed around the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. 1970s, eczema. So after producing the soap and all, the founder of the soap tried their new Shabondama organic soap, and it seems that the new organic soap cured him of his eczema disease. So it was something great. I mean, before this they've been using synthetic soap, it caused eczema. Then when they tried out the new organic soap, it cured them of the eczema. Means that this disease is caused by mostly synthetic things, which later led the revolution of the housewives movement for this new order to prevent other synthetic things and improve the people's health. Environmental friendly. When you wash bridges and your body waste, the things that flow into the river are clean and non-synthetic fire extinguishing soap. This is also good for the environment. Just some history there. Earthquakes, fires happen. Japan wants to take care of their soil fertility. So this company is the same company that invented soap that takes care of the soil fertility, which is good for the environment. Moving on. So trains and bridges, when you want to clean the trains and bridges, of course, when you clean and then the waste will just go down to the river there. So by using Shabon Dama's organic soap and non-synthetic materialistic soap, the rivers are staying well and healthy for the people. Next. Wow. I still have a lot to go on here. Whew. Okay, so this is the company that we went that day. Recycles cars, applies the 3R rule. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I'll try to shorten my speech. 3R. Reduce is by reducing production. Reuse is reusing the products that you have already used. And recycle is using that waste that you have produced for something new. Minimize loss of materials. By applying the 3R, you are actually cutting your waste and actually reusing your waste to produce new items. Next. So this is how they recycle the cars. Of course, they take all the components that they can to minimize their loss of materials. Then finally, at last, they will only apply recycle. They will try to avoid recycle if possible. They'll try to reuse any parts that they can. This helps a lot ecologically, and only at the last step they will use the recycling process. This is for the PET bottles, PET bottles, that they also recycle. But the difference is, this one they do not reuse. They straight away recycle the items, the materials into new materials. Waste becomes new materials for new items. So they produce flakes and pellets, as we have learned that day, and some of the logos, mostly on recycling process. Okay, next. So Sunny will sum things up for my team.
Hello everyone. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Thank you, Roshan. I'm here to summarize what my colleagues have already said. As you've heard, we started with the history of Kitakyushu, the economic revolution of Japan. Of course, Kitakyushu took part of it by the Industrial Revolution. We've heard how the industries developed overnight. The sky, to the extent the skies of Kitakyushu was brown, and then the citizens were proud of it because they thought, well, it's true though, that the signs of pollution or the smokes is a sign of industrialization. We've also had or saw the pollution of Kitakyushu. Of course, due to the industries, the factories that were produced, it resulted in pollution. The effects of pollution caused diseases such as asthma, which is famous. And then because of that, a lot of people, the sickness continued. It took a very long time to cure because it was new and the people were not aware of what it was. The technology was slow when it comes to the treatment. Also, we saw how they overcame the pollution by as Roshan has said, by awareness, which a movement that was started by women, a women group. They went to the extent of visiting professors, doing researches by themselves, to the extent of when the local government was involved, an agreement was signed and so on, until, the attitude continued until the pollution was overcome. We also saw under the trend, I mean the revolution that started as a result of, after overcoming the pollution, the Kitakyushu efforts in eco-friendliness, like the eco-city, eco-town, pardon me, as Roshan has said, which is mainly built, or rather introduced to improve or educate people about eco-friendliness. We've also saw Shabudama company, the soap company which produces completely non-synthetic soap, which is environment friendly. We also saw the Eco-Town recycling plant, where I think we were there, all of us, which they recycled used cars. We also saw the Eco-Town Center, which also they have several programs which improves the environmental friendliness. Also, the general awareness, as you can see, I mean, all of us here, since we came, there is general awareness about the environment in Kitakyushu. They like the garbage sorting. We sort their garbages according to the contents of the garbages. Waste reduction, generally that is waste reduction, as the representative of the Kitakyushu government said last week. The rate of waste generation has reduced in Kitakyushu. This is, of course, due to awareness, and also reusage, reusing what has been used before. Now, these are some of the factors that have influenced the ecological revolution, or rather the trend or improvement in Kitakyushu. May I conclude by saying, a case of grass to grace, we have seen where they started after the war, World War II. There was industrial revolution, and then next there was pollution, and then the cleaning of the pollution, and then back to industrialized nation again, in addition to the eco-friendliness in the environment. As you know, Kitakyushu is a champion now in environmental friendliness. I think they have been awarded for that, and then they are even showing some nations that. Also, we have seen, in conclusion, rather, I would say, though they paid a price, I mean, there were diseases and there were deaths, but at the end, here they are. And I believe other countries, other nations, other cities should emulate what Kitakyushu city has done in terms of environment. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yes, please.
What interests you most about the ecological effort in this city?
In my opinion, I think it's more of the ideas on how to improve, because sometimes you have something in your mind but you just can't apply it. So what intrigues me most is the ideas that have been implemented. For example, soap, because soap goes in through the sewers, goes through the rivers. So it is good that you fix the root of the problem. So the ideas that they have implemented to fix, that is also a revolutionary thing. Also, Eco-Town, recycling is also something quite great, the idea, because I'm sure Malaysia didn't come up with it. So Japan invented the 3 R's, helped ask people to, okay, this is the new way on how to do things, we're going to recycle, this is how you stop making waste. So these are the ideas that change the world one day. That's it in my point.
My second question is, I gave you an assignment on Saturday to find something related to sustainable development.
Yeah.
Did you find something?
So many, I think.
Pick one. Pick some.
Some of them, for example, I think the easiest one, the first thing that we saw was, because we didn't include all the pictures, so please allow me to just choose one first. I think one of the first one is Guna-san showed us that day that there was this one poster of a robot, and it was just on the side of the station, and he said that this robot builds other robots. We are like, whoa, that's something new. I mean, robots building other robots, you can have thousands of robots in a month. So that's the sign of pure improvement over there, pure technology. Any other questions? Yes, please.
It's not a question, it's another comment. You introduced the very beginning, the ecological imbalance,
Flora and fauna.
flora and fauna.
Fauna, yes.
Very familiar term with you?
I'm sorry, is it?
It's very familiar, like it's part of your daily life.
Yes, very. We have heard it since we are young kids, around 12 to 13 years old. Flora and fauna is like the wildlife, the environment to us.
So maybe Japan and Malaysia stands in different starting point.
Yes, probably, yeah.
Because it's already very familiar for you, as Malaysian children, while we need to teach our children to appreciate.
I'm sure there is some part of history and background over there, but I'm sure we are all humans, we start somewhere, but together we can work towards a greater future, I'm sure. Any other questions? Because there's many things I wish to talk about, because there's many things I've learned because EcoTown I really wanted to talk much more, but I'm not given the time. But I'm sure we are all honored to be given this chance to stand in front of you all today to give you all our presentation on what we have learned from Japan these past 2 weeks. So if there's no other questions, please let us conclude our presentation by saying arigatou gozaimasu.
Dah habis.